Okay, this is our lesson on working with roofs. Some of the things that we'll be discussing in this lesson will be the roof tool default settings, geometry and positioning, the pitch of the roof, show and link the stories, the floor plan display, showing the projection as explained in the cut plane lesson, cut surfaces, determining plate locations, explaining the pivot point reference axis, using poly roof tool, and then editing. The poly roof generates hips, and editing those hips. Roofs are sloping solids of a uniform thickness. Each roof plane can be edited as a single element. Using Control-click to join roof edges. Using Control-click to set spot heights. Mitering ridges and valleys. Transforming hip into gable. A couple of different methods. The trim to roof command. The undo trim command. Using roof for solid element operations. Building roofs element by element. Editing roofs in 3D. Working with domed roof. Working with the barrel vaulted roof. Working with the multi-sloped roof. Working with composite roofs. Working with the automatic roof maker, extra, and working with the truss maker. Alright, as you see here, we've generated a building that's going to give us the option to put in various different roof styles. Over here we'll work with the rotated rectangle. Here we'll place a rectangle shed roof. We'll place a dome roof over this circular section. We'll place a multi-sloped roof here. We'll place a barrel vaulted roof over this section. We'll use the polygonal roof tool to place a roof over this section here. Over here we'll change a hip roof to a gable and trim the wall to the roof. And here we'll illustrate how a roof works over a curved wall. Let's open our roof tool default settings, which we can do either here with a double click or up on our info bar on the settings dialog icon. Now in geometry and positioning, this first box here gives us the relative height. What we'll do here is we'll enter in the wall height where we want to place the roof. And that'll give us a pivot point. As you can see right here, we have a little pivot point under the roof. That pivot point, anything outside of that pivot point is going down, and anything inside of that pivot point is rising, acting like a hinge for the roof. And that is basically our plate height of the roof. This box here gives us the roof slope, roof slant, and there's a couple of ways we can work that. We can work that in degrees, percent, and also our pitch in 12 feet or in 12 inches. This box here allows us to select options for the home story, which would be either the current, first floor, automatic, or select the story. If we select the story, in this case we have a first floor, we have a roof, we're going to say OK for the first floor. We also have our floor plan and section dialog box. I'm going to close this up. See if we can stretch that out a little. And here we have some additional default settings for the floor plan display. First one here is show on stories. If we click here, we have several options. We can show on the home story only, home and one story up, home and one story down, home and one story up and down, all stories, all relevant stories, or custom. If we click on custom, that'll give us an additional dialog box that we can work with to set the parameters for how the roof is shown on the various stories. If we click on floor plan display, we'll be given some additional options: projected, projected with overhead, cut only, outlines only, and overhead all. Those will be detailed further in our cut plane lesson on another DVD. In our structure dialog box, we have a cut fill option. And right here I've got a composite structure shown. When that composite structure is shown, you'll notice that the vertical eave height and the roof thickness boxes are grayed out. The reason for that is that with this composite structure selected, we cannot alter the roof thickness or the vertical eave height. But if we go into, say, a solid fill, say 2x wood frame, you notice that these boxes are now adjustable because we're having a very simple cut fill structure, and we can adjust the roof thickness and the vertical eave height. We're going to go back to our 2x6 roof. Alright, the cut surfaces allow us to adjust the color of the cut fill pen. You can see how this works. Right now we're at the thin gray fill. If we go to burgundy, you can see here how that affects the cut fill and the composite. We'll go back. We can also apply the structure settings, which will override whatever we have selected for the cut fill pen. That also works for the cut fill background pen, the cut line pen, the separator line pen, and its associated colors. We also have options for the outlines, and we have options for the cover fills. If we click on the model drop-down box, we have some options here which allow us to choose how the model looks in 3D. Right now I've got the top of the roof showing as copper verdigris. we can change that to, say, Spanish tile. This button allows us to link the materials. If we unlink, then we can have the top of the roof say as Spanish tile, and we can have the edges, say, a paint whitewash, and we can have the bottom of the roof is, say, a wood walnut with the horizontal grain. We can also select the angle of our roof edge here. This box here, listing and labeling, allows us to change the ID name on the roof, label the roof, and we have a label settings dialog box that we can access here. And of course here we can select the layer for the roof. What I've done here is I've